Welcome to today's Town Hall State of NAIFA, brought to you by the NAIFA Board of Trustees. Today we will be hearing association updates from NAIFA CEO Kevin Mayeux, NAIFA Senior Vice President of Government Relations Diane Boyle, and NAIFA National President Cammie Scott. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Kevin Mayeux. As NAIFA's Chief Executive Officer, Kevin oversees the headquarters and national staff and manages relationships with life, health, and financial service companies, other industry organizations, legislators, and regulators as well. Kevin also supports NAIFA's Board of Trustees and committees and coordinates efforts with NAIFA's 90 state and local chapters. As CEO, he has led an effort to modernize NAIFA's operations through the development and implementation of a bold new strategic plan, NAIFA 2020. So here to speak with you today on the state of affairs of NAIFA, Kevin Mayeux.
Thank you, Zach. And let me be the first to say happy 130th anniversary to every NAIFA member out there. Can you believe it? NAIFA was founded 130 years ago today on June 18th, 1890 in the great city of Boston. And we started as the National Association of Life Underwriters, and in that we had a group of producers that came together to form a professional association that advocates for favorable legislative and regulatory schemes, enhances business and professional skills, and promotes ethical conduct as we serve to provide financial security to Main Street USA. NAIFA's undergone a lot of changes throughout our history, but perhaps the biggest was our most recent change when our members voted in May of 2018 to change our overall structure and adopt new bylaws. This new structure and our new operations and financial model came into existence on January 1st, 2019, when we truly became one NAIFA. Throughout the past 18 months, we have re-engineered NAIFA and modernized it so that I can tell you today, midway through our 130th full year, we have implemented many of our modernization goals, and NAIFA truly is running at full speed. Let's recap a little bit where we are today and how NAIFA functions. Let's start with the biggest change, and that's our organizational structure. Just think, just 18 months ago, we were a federation of 600 different legal entities with 600 different due structures all throughout the United States. But we have bonded together to form a strong and powerful professional association that advocates for our people at all levels. And we've been able to do that by coming together as one NAIFA. Our new structure affords us a distribution channel that allows for us to deliver communications, programming, and information quickly through our streamlined network of connected national, state, and local chapters. Our structure is now governed with a home office with 50 state chapters and 2 territories. Within a state chapter, there might be additional local chapters to serve large metropolitan areas, such as Dallas or Los Angeles. But now these work in concert with the state, allowing NAIFA to have an even stronger, more coordinated, more impactful grassroots effort, where we need to lobby at the state level, and then when we need to come together on state and federal issues. This ability to localize with our local and state chapters running programs that serve their specific communities while all coming together for national issues has been truly revolutionary for NAIFA. With our new structure, we can hold a national level program like we did just a few weeks ago with NAIFA Nation Impact Week, and have NAIFA members from all over the country come together to represent their local area, their state, and participate in a national level conversation. In fact, this structure is what's going to allow NAIFA to not only survive, but to be relevant for the next 130 years and continue to thrive. The work that we've done throughout the past 5 years has been the vision of a phenomenal group of volunteer leaders. Our integrated national, state, local leadership structure starts at the national level with our Board of Trustees. Board members are elected or selected to 1 or 2 year terms, and they serve again as volunteers representing our interests and making sure that the needs of professionals in our space are well served by NAIFA as our professional association. I'd like to thank all of our current and past board members for all of the great work that they have done, bringing NAIFA to where it is today and setting a solid platform for us to move forward throughout our next 130 years. Our board members play a critical role as well as a liaison to our state boards, as well as they hold specialized roles which they can interact and interface with to make sure that we have greater industry focus, and we can also focus on membership development and governance. The connected communication structure flows between our National Board of Trustees to each state's Board of Trustees, and it's been truly exceptional. Communication and shared programming are now the norm at NAIFA. We are interconnected and are beginning to work truly in sync as one NAIFA. This new structure has allowed us to move quickly on legislative issues, optimize resources, share and grade programming, such as our town halls, our NAIFA Live monthly meetings, and more. And when COVID-19 hit, our structure allowed us to pivot, to put on new programming within 1 week, and we welcome thousands of attendees to come together in NAIFA as we've presented opportunities for our members and non-members alike. Now when people ask, what do I get for my membership? It's very clear that you belong to an association that can plug you in at the local, state, and national levels, and can do that easily in a way that fits your work-life balance needs. In fact, this top-down and bottom-up structure gives us the ability to quickly ascertain what our members need and deliver it in the appropriate way so that, above all else, NAIFA remains timely and relevant to each of our members. Within our National Board of Trustees, there is the Executive Committee, which is composed of our treasurer, who looks after our total portfolio of financial products and needs, an immediate past president, a secretary, a president-elect, and a president. Each of the folks that have served in these roles and our folks that are serving in these roles today are absolutely incredible leaders that work tirelessly on your behalf every single day to see that NAIFA functions well and continues to meet your needs. My role as the CEO is to oversee the professional staff and to liaise with the board and the executive committee to make sure that their vision, your vision as our membership, is absolutely well executed. And again, that NAIFA is making good use of the resources that we have available to best meet your needs. Our executive committee are a talented group of individuals, and it's a pleasure to work with them, and I salute them for their hard work on your behalf. Another differentiator for NAIFA as an association is our association's professional staff. With our new structure, we are now interconnected at the staff level. We have a home office based in Falls Church, Virginia, a government relations office in Washington, D.C., a field office located in Iowa, and we have remote staff located in North Dakota, Tennessee, Ohio, Illinois, and Florida, in addition to an incredibly talented group of chapter staff members that are located in our state chapters and in many of our local chapters all across this country. Our staff provides expertise to execute on our respective board's vision, and with our new structure, we are executing at a pace that we've never seen before. With the right structure and the right staff, we've been able to undertake new work over the last 18 months and have released a multitude of programs that are available to all NAIFA members. Let's first explore our new Centers of Excellence, which we put together to ensure that we have the resources for every phase of a professional's life cycle within this industry. There's no outgrowing NAIFA. We have designed one NAIFA to allow encouragement and learning opportunities for the new advisor all the way through to an advisor who is thinking about succession planning. All of our members are tapped into a national network of professionals with supporting resources so that you can belong to NAIFA throughout your entire career. Simply put, NAIFA is the home base for insurance and financial professionals. We have three types of centers: personal, practice, and specialty areas. The Talent Development Center focused on professional development for the individual advisor. Content and programs within the Talent Development Center focus in on developing better soft skills, resources for inspiration, and leadership training. The Talent Development Center also focuses and houses our Diversity Task Force, which has led our diversity and inclusion work throughout the past 5 years. This group is focused on how we can ensure that we are recruiting advisors into the business that can service a changing Main Street USA. The Business Performance Center is focused on growing your actual practice. Here you will find seminars, content, and events focused on all the aspects of practice management, for when you hire, how you differentiate your business, and where you grow your partner network. Our popular Advanced Practices Symposium is housed under our Business Performance Center. And we also have specialty centers. Our first is our Limited and Extended Care Planning Center, which pulls together experts, content, and events to cover the continuum of topics within long-term care. This specialty center is really receiving attention throughout COVID-19 as we as a nation face tough choices, such as how to pay for hospitalization and nursing home needs as we move forward. With COVID-19, all of our education has turned virtual. We know that we will get back to face-to-face in-person meetings sometime soon, hopefully very soon. But because we already had in place upgraded technology within NAIFA, we've been able to continue providing high-quality program opportunities without missing a beat. In fact, we've hit record attendance. Since COVID-19, we've had more than 15,000 registrants participate in our online events. If you want to experience this yourself, you can visit any of our archives where all these programs are housed for you, and you can watch the presentation on demand at your leisure. Moving from a streaming virtual event followed up by an on-demand archive means that NAIFA members can now engage in NAIFA in a time frame that fits their schedule, and they won't miss out on any great programming because of scheduling conflicts. Since we became One NAIFA, we've also won the distinction of being offered a fully accredited and federal recognized certification called Life and Annuity Certified Professional. Due to COVID-19, we've worked with our testing center to now allow LACP to be taken online. We offer a study guide and have extended the window for both testing as well as LACP CE renewal. We are working to make this certification the mark of distinction for advisors who work with life insurance and annuity products. We're also working hard to have companies recognize and approve LACP for use by their field force. To date, we've had over 20 companies recognize LACP, including supporters such as New York Life, Mass Mutual, Nationwide, Principal, Guardian, and many, many more. In our One Nation, we want to make it easier for you, now more than ever, to be differentiated amongst others in the profession and in your respective markets. And one way to do this is through our awards program, in which we have many, but too few members actually know about all of them. If you are a member, or if you have a member, or if you want to self-nominate yourself for one of these awards, please do it. We'd love to recognize you for the great work that you do. Look into how you can receive the NAIFA Quality Award that recognizes production and service to the community. Be recognized as a standout under 40 advisor if you fit that category, or receive high honors for becoming the YAT Team Leader of the Year or Diversity Champion. And finally, our One NAIFA Revitalized Association has also recommitted ourselves to working directly with consumers to provide information and access to NAIFA members who are trusted advisors in their community. Launched in February, our redesigned consumer site is now found at financialsecurity.org, and it features our member directory as well as resources for consumers. We also need more people considering undertaking a career in financial services, so we have a section on this as well on this public site, and we are working this year to create better connections with students to raise the profile of this noble profession. Our new site was launched just before COVID-19, and again, we were able to pivot and create resources for consumers that they can trust. Our resource page has been heavily utilized, and we have provided these resources to our congressional leaders so that they can pass them along to their constituents. Just another example of how we at NAIFA are here to serve Main Street USA. Our outreach and willingness to provide information was recognized by many policymakers at the state and the federal levels. And this is in large part due to the absolutely amazing job that you do every day, supported by the best government relations staff in the entire industry. And so now we're going to get an update of what's going on the government relations front from our head of government relations, our Senior Vice President, Diane Boyle. Diane?
Thank you, Kevin. We've been at this a while. And as a matter of fact, this isn't our first pandemic. We've been through one of those as well. So I won't list 130 years of accomplishments, but I will cover a few of the issues that we accomplished this year. And just because we're working from home doesn't mean that we're not working, But before the pandemic hit, we actually were out in Massachusetts. Kevin went out in January and provided testimony along with 2 NAIFA member clients on a financial standard of conduct in the state of Massachusetts. And luckily, as a result of NAIFA Massachusetts efforts, the testimony by Kevin and the clients, the final standard of conduct includes several modifications, lessening the adverse impact on our members and your clients. Earlier this year, the NAIC adopted model annuity regulation, which closely aligns with the SEC regulation best interests that NAIFA worked on, and it too includes a good number of NAIFA recommendations. Through the work of NAIFA Iowa and NAIFA Arizona, these 2 states became the first to adopt that NAIC model, and we're hoping and working with the other states to make sure that we can have this model adopted throughout all of the states. And again, to Kevin's point, when we work together, this is an example of how we do it. We do it both on the federal level through the SEC and getting that best interest standard put in place. We have the NAIC adopting a model that conforms to it. And then we have each of the states to come back through and adopt that model as well, so that we have consistency throughout in how we operate our business and how you can provide that service to your clients. As Congress looked for ways to provide relief from the virus, we advocated for small business loans, relief from payroll taxes, greater flexibility for workers to access retirement plan funds, and all of these were adopted. Those measures provided financial relief for many Americans and businesses, including yours. As a matter of fact, a NAIFA member from Illinois was profiled in the Ways and Means Committee newsletter that went out, and it talked about how he was able to utilize the loan, secure 3 of his employees, thus allowing his business continue, those employees to stay on payroll, and to help other small businesses and families. And without that loan, not only would it have impacted our members' business, but obviously the other small businesses that rely on his professional guidance. In New Hampshire, we saw security regulators publicly thank NAIFA for its support of a new law to protect seniors from financial exploitation. And New Hampshire is one of those states that we like to see. It fits a saying that we have, that sometimes what you don't see is our greatest accomplishments. In New Hampshire, they don't and didn't face a number of the legislative challenges because it's an ongoing effort to make sure that they have a relationship with the lawmakers and that there's an understanding and support of our industry. In Minnesota, we were able to advance legislation to require timely release of medical records. It conforms with a federal law on the timely release of those records, which impacts underwriting. Just last week, the Colorado legislature attempted to tax annuities, or as they like to say, eliminate certain tax expenditures, which we know to be a tax that would be imposed on our clients and the products that they're using. NAIFA Colorado worked with ACLI, and we achieved another victory. Policymakers adopted our amendments there, and so we didn't see that go into effect. Just yesterday, the Small Business Administration and Treasury released both an easy and a full forgiveness application for the PPP loans that we talked about. There's still going to need to be additional guidance around those. The applications that they released yesterday provide some clarity, but not enough. I think we're still going to have some questions, but watch your inboxes because we'll be providing a PPP loan, what it means in the real world presentation soon as we delve through those. Also yesterday, the Department of Labor issued a request for information on prohibited transactions involving pooled employer plans. You'll remember that was implemented under the Secure Act that was signed into law in December of last year. As we try to go through the regulatory process there, we'll now be submitting information on those prohibited transactions. These are just a few of the examples of what we've been able to accomplish since January. There are many, many more. and I don't know that anyone wants to sit and listen to me talk for that long. So let's discuss how we actually accomplish those wins. So we'll go on and talk a little bit about NAIFA's representation. We have 100% representation. NAIFA's advocacy strength is rooted in our geographic diversity. We have NAIFA members in every congressional district. We have NAIFA members in every state house. This makes us a political powerhouse. And Kevin alluded to this, but sadly we knew that scams would soon follow the pandemic and economic downturn would as well. And it brings out, unfortunately, sometimes those that are looking to game the system. We were able to quickly add reliable COVID-19 resources to that consumer website that Kevin mentioned. And then we took that information and alerted all the congressional offices. Every state legislator received a note. Every insurance commissioner received information that NAIFA, a name that they knew and trusted, had resources and people that they could refer to their constituents for help. They needed financial assistance. There was a trusted place to go. And this earned us praise from many of the legislators and the policymakers posted on social media, which we've embraced in the NAIFA culture as well. That probably wasn't something that we were doing 130 years ago, but it's something that definitely is a way that we communicate now. And to see the lawmakers pick up what efforts we were putting in place and retweeting those or posting a Facebook explanation of if you need assistance with financial services, NAIFA has resources. If you feel like you've been scammed, here's where you can get reliable information, and referring them to our site was significant. When the stay-at-home orders converted our congressional conference into an impact week, we still drew 5,000 attendees with every state represented. That makes us that powerhouse. And while our reach alone is broad, we also partner with other associations. We partner with these associations to represent the larger industry, from company and broker associations to associations with specific race or gender memberships. NAIFA advocacy partnerships strengthen our policy work. We also participate in a number of coalitions. Our participation in coalition further enhances our advocacy reach. This might be surprising. Numbers actually matter to lawmakers. And so the more that we can broaden our advocacy reach, the better served we are. So coalitions allow us to expand from just sort of that industry support to really represent a variety of industries across the spectrum in state houses and in Congress. Right now, our efforts in Congress are appropriately and narrowly focused on economic recovery efforts in the health, retirement, life insurance tax issues and changes. And broad support is needed to get those issues to the finish line. The last couple of months, to give you an example, we worked closely with the IRI, which is the Insured Retirement Institute, on a 5-point retirement plan to help Americans keep their money longer and to save more for retirement. We've had over 100 Hill meetings with IRI, the National Association of Fixed Annuities, and the ERISA Industry Committee to make sure that lawmakers understand as the economy recovers that retirement savers were negatively impacted and that they need to make sure that those Americans have an opportunity to recoup some of those funds when the market was downturned and as we see it recover, so that we can secure retirement savings as we go further or go into the future with our retirees. As I shared earlier, our accomplishments can be found in federal and state legislation and regulation, as well as through our active participation in interstate organizations. They help formulate model statutes and regulations. An example is NAIFA serves on the board of the National Insurance Producer Registry. And when testing and fingerprinting facilities blocked applicants from getting licensed, we worked with advocacy partners and interstate organizations on a temporary solution. NAIFA Michigan was the first to report a new member that was able to get licensed and join NAIFA because of our efforts. The NAIFA structure permits for the sharing of information from one state to another. What pops up in one state always emerges in others. With strong lobbyists in each of the states, we're able to leverage that knowledge and share that playbook. Not only is the information shared between state to state, what fails at the federal level is often tried at the state level and vice versa. The California worker classification approach proves to be invaluable as Congress goes down the same path. We were able to coordinate with California and say, what worked? What challenges did you have? Congress introduced something very similar. And so we're using those same arguments, those same explanations. We know what roadblocks to anticipate because we saw what California did and how it worked. And so by working as one NAIFA, we're able to leverage all sides of the advocacy arena. And let's not forget the life cycle of a lawmaker. State legislators often find their way to Congress, and when they do, NAIFA already has a warm relationship. There's no cold calling needed for us. They've known NAIFA because we developed those relationships very early on, which leads us to the three-legged stool. I think this image sums up our advocacy best. It talks about ADVOCACY, which includes a federal PAC and 50 state PACs. They allow us to support state and federal campaigns to advance the legislative interest of NAIFA members. This is how we get the right people into office. And by supporting campaigns, NAIFA is able to develop relationships with state and federal candidates before they're elected. And so those relationships are already there when they take office. And when they, as I said, with the life cycle, when they move from state to federal office, that relationship translates. It's still in existence, and it makes it incredibly powerful. The professional lobbying, we have a team of inside lobbyists and outside consultants that do all of the nerdy work. We do policy development and bill analysis and political strategy. And we do this in each state and in Congress and coordinate our efforts that way. Our greatest strength, however, is you. It's our grassroots. Lawmakers are looking for local trusted sources of information, and NAIFA delivers. As I said, with NAIFA members in every congressional district and every state house, we can deliver those trusted relationships. Developing those personal relationships between NAIFA members and lawmakers translates into calls being taken by lawmakers and their reliance on us to help them with policy. I'll give you an example. I was on a call with a senator I don't remember if it was this week or last week. Very recently, I was just on a call with a senator, and we were discussing the needs to clarify the PPP definition of payroll. I wanted to make sure that we were going to include all insurance products. So your short-term disability would be included in that payroll too. Anything that really would provide that payroll stability, we need to broaden that definition. She mentioned she was working on bipartisan language and suggested that some of the lawmakers that she was working with might need a little encouragement. She was thrilled when I offered NAIFA has constituents for both of the senators that she mentioned. She then spoke favorably of the NAIFA member who is her constituent and often provides local perspective on the issues. So you see that relationship not only allows us to present information to a lawmaker, it allows that lawmaker to rely on us to help them get their legislation supported by other members of Congress. And NAIFA can do that because of our structure, because we have members in every congressional district. And the same is true in the state houses. It's that broad approach that allows that trust, and that question that I always ask when I'm working with a member of Congress is, what can I do to help you? Because then they come back and say, what can we do to help you? And it really is a relationship that's developed on trust. We don't always agree with each other, but at least they know they can ask for assistance just as we can. And we come in and we ask and educate where we know that our policies and our products and our services can be helpful to consumers, explain that to the legislators. and they want to offer those policies. And then when they offer those policies and those provisions, they often turn back to NAIFA and say, okay, can you help us spread that message with other legislators so that we have broad support in order to move this legislation or this regulation forward? And that's what we do. There are, and it's because of you and the relationships that you develop and your willingness to share your expertise with them. It's very much appreciated. Next, I'll leave you with a number of resources. You can always follow us. We put out not only what's relatively new this year is a NAIFA advocacy blog. It's Advocacy in Action. If you go there, you can sign up so that you get instant notices or daily or weekly, depending on your preference. We always do a Gov Talk monthly, which will give you detailed information on our activities. And of course, you can always call us. We're here to serve you and make sure that we can share your information, your expertise with lawmakers so that we get the best government environment and business environment for you and your clients. So definitely reach out to us, tap those resources, let us know how we can be of help. And with that, I will turn things over to Madam President, Cammie Scott.
Thanks, Diane, and thanks, Kevin, as well. I appreciate the work that both of you do, and welcome to all of you who have joined us today. Are you an adrenaline junkie? Do you crave the rush? Have the need for speed or the drive to dive? Adrenaline junkies pursue thrill-seeking or intense activities because they cause the body to release adrenaline, which in turn causes their heart rate to go up, their breathing to increase, their blood pressure to get higher. It's a sort of a natural high. I think that we can all agree this year has been one wild ride. At this point, even the most ardent of adrenaline junkies is yelling, slow down and let me off this thing. In October of last year, I declared to all of you, business as usual is no longer an option. Looking back now, that was a prophetic statement. Who would have thought in January, just a few short months later, the whole world would be upended? Everything has changed. Life as we knew it will never be the same. We will all remember this time. The question is, how will you remember it? Today, we're celebrating NAIFA's 130th anniversary. This is the day that we were founded in Boston in 1890. 130 years. So much has changed during this time. At that time, there were 42 states. Benjamin Harrison was president. There were about 8,000 cars in total. Bread was 7 cents a loaf, milk 9 cents, and steak, that was just 26 cents per pound. Although there were differences, there are some similarities. There were technological advances, major market volatility, labor strikes, and big political and banking reforms. Since the 1890s, there have been advances made in everything, from transportation to communication, medicine, space exploration. The GDP has risen 4,500%. The insurance industry now accounts for 2.8% of the total GDP. And as Diane mentioned, this is our second go around with the pandemic. If anything, this pandemic has accelerated change to a lightning pace. The founding members of NAIFA would be totally astonished. Through it all, NAIFA has stood the test of time. We're the oldest and largest professional association for agents and financial advisors. Now, Some would scoff and belittle us that we're not the association of yesterday and that somehow we've fallen for glory or become irrelevant. And to those I would say, you know, it's true. We're not the association that we used to be. We're better. We're not locked in the past, but rather we've opened the door to the future. You see, the industry has changed. The industry model and career paths have changed. Years ago, people went to work for one company. They worked there for their whole lives, and then they retired. They were career agents. Managers told them to join as a condition of their contract. It was something they had to do. And for many, it was viewed merely as a fee or a box that they had to check, rather than something of great value. Legislative changes and mounting regulatory pressure, financial pressure as well, along with technological advances, caused the model to change. While we do have some career agencies today, most are gone. Banks got in the insurance business, investment advisors got in the insurance business, insurance agents got in the securities business. Independent agents are now the norm. They turn to marketing groups for assistance instead of career shop managers. The career path of the agent today looks nothing like the career path of the agent of even a few years ago. Today, we face new challenges as well as new opportunities. In order to ensure that we deliver value to agents and advisors, as well as Main Street Americans, we have reinvented ourselves. Our members now choose to be members, not because they have to, but because they want to. They understand the value we provide and appreciate the tools and resources that are available to them. The industry has grown. The products are more complex. Clients want more. They're more diverse, more educated, and often face complicated multi-generational planning issues. Our members expect more, and we're delivering. Over the years, I've been told NAIFA is a big ship. It takes a while to turn it around, meaning change takes time. Now, me being the adrenaline junkie that I am, I reply, how do we go further faster? How do we increase our speed? How do we, a 130-year-old organization, become more agile and proficient at meeting the needs of our members? The answer? We innovate. We continually evolve and reinvent to ensure that we are meeting the needs of our members as well as consumers. It takes a team, a strong and enduring group of individuals who come together to lead and to serve. Thank you. Thank you to our leaders. Thank you to our leaders of the past who helped pave the way to where we are today. Thank you to today's leaders, the ones who have stayed the course during this difficult time as we navigate change together and take NAIFA into a brand new era. Thank you to our members. Thank you to our longtime members who have seen so many changes in America, the world, the industry, as well as the association. Thank you to our new members who are just joining. Hang on for the ride. To those who are not yet members, I ask you to come and take a look for yourselves at who we are and at what we do. Thank you to our ADVOCACY contributors. And for all those who have been involved in our grassroots programs and legislative efforts, NAIFA was founded upon advocacy, and it's the centerpiece of what we do. I want all of you to know this is your association, and it's a great association, and it's a great time to be involved. This association is run by the members, for the members. So many of you have taken this to heart, and you've rolled up your sleeves and you've worked hard to facilitate change. If you haven't already gotten involved in leadership or serving in some capacity, consider this to be your formal invitation. We need people from all generations, from all locations, and from all practices. There is a place for everyone. Now, not everyone has to take on a major role. There are many, many opportunities for micro-volunteerism. This is a great way for you to build your skill set, to get to know people and network. You know, you always get more out of your membership when you put more into it. So I challenge you today to take a look around, step up and get involved. Join with us, come on along in advancing and elevating the profession. This is also your invitation to invest in yourself. The summer months are a great time to work on your LACP, CLTC, LUTCF, or to start to look for a Lily class, to work with a coach or a mentor. Take this time. Take this opportunity to elevate your game. You know, a question that I'm often asked is, what about membership? We had a phenomenal start to the new year. We recruited more new, brand new members at the beginning of the year than we had in over a decade. Then COVID hit. Now, things slowed down, but they did not stop. We're still up 24%. 24% year over year in new members. And retentions, by the way, they're at 40%. 40%. Even in the midst of this pandemic, we're up. We have a membership team that is on fire. Thank you to each of you who worked so hard with that. New members are joining and rejoining from all across the industry and from all areas of practice, from career agents to independents, support staff, home office, and everything in between. They're finding a home in NAIFA. They're drawn to us for the professional development programs, the tools, the resources, the revitalized award programs, and our increased efforts and outreach to the community. For the last few years, legislators have asked us to provide programs, training, and financial literacy courses for the general public. They saw the need and knew that we, yes, we, the NAIFA Nation, had the people and the resources to provide the solutions. Earlier this year, we answered the call with financialsecurity.org. We view this as an even bigger calling, a bigger platform for NAIFA as we move the needle on financial literacy. We have a turnkey financial wellness training program that's ready for you to use right now in your community. All the materials are set. They're ready for you to take advantage of today. The membership promise of NAIFA is to advocate, educate, and differentiate. This program, this financial literacy program, fits squarely in all three areas. And who better to educate Main Street America and help build up and secure America than us? You've all seen the news with the lines at the food banks. You've watched the struggle of Main Street Americans as they waited in line. Or they turned to the generosity of their neighbors through food stocked in neighborhood free libraries. It's hard times. However, you are members. You're the light in the darkness. You are the ones who shine the light on a brighter future. You deal in hope. You train, you educate, equip, and empower people. You help them believe in a better day. You give them hope. Hope is helping other people excel. You do this with your clients as you help them plan. You do this with your teams as you educate and empower them. And you do this with other members as you train and mentor them. You all provide light to those in the darkness and hope to the hurting. Be proud of what you do. May 6th of this year marked another milestone. As SpaceX was launched, it was the first time in 9 years that U.S. astronauts took flight, and a first for the privatization of the space industry. This innovative team created a spaceship that cost less money, ran better, flew smoother, and was able to be salvaged instead of being lost at sea. The goal is to provide space tourism to individuals and allow them to stay at the space station. There's even now talk of going to Mars. Now, they did something great, but that doesn't diminish the accomplishments of the past. It paved the way for the future. Someone had to start. Someone had to take the lead. In 1890, a group of courageous people stood up and formed what has become the largest, oldest, and most prestigious professional association in the industry. Man, what a ride it's been. What a rush. And what a privilege to be involved with the journey. Today we celebrate. We celebrate the past as we reach forward for the future. Happy birthday, NAIFA. And here's to an even better next 130 years. Thank you all for being a part of history. Zach?
Thanks so much, Cammie. Really appreciate it. And thank you all who joined us today for NAIFA's celebration of our 130th anniversary. Please note that we also have a 130th anniversary happy hour today. So stay tuned for that, and that is happening at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you all for joining us today, and happy birthday, NAIFA.